Alright, so welcome to 2.6 Measures of Spread. So remember, last time we talked about the mean, median, mode, a set of data, so three of them together are what we normally refer to as average. Mean is the sum of all the values divided by the number of values. Median is the middlemost value, and mode is the most frequent value. So that tells us how closely things cluster around the middle. So we also want to find out how things measure around the spread. I also want to measure how things spread out around the outsides, away from the center. This is where we use measures of spread, or deviation, the difference between the individual value and the mean in the data. So the standard deviation is then we have population and sample based on which mean we're using. It's denoted as sigma, which is the small sigma, or small s. Remember that large N is the number in the population, little n is the number in the sample. Okay, so this is the formula. So basically, remember this is the sum of all the values minus the mean squared, divided by how many there are, and then take the square root. So things to keep in mind. The larger the standard deviation is, the data is more spread out. The smaller the standard deviation, the data is more closely together. Variance. So variance is just the square of the standard deviation. We don't use it very often. Some people do. It's just a value, basically means the same thing, but most people refer to as standard deviation more frequently. It's just one of those things. It's good to know about. Another way of measuring spread is using the quartiles and the interquartile range. So the median is the middle value, and the quartiles are helping divide the data set into four parts. So standard deviation works with the mean, quartiles work with the median. Okay, so the first quartile is the median of the first half of the data, and the third quartile is the median of the second half of the data. So find those exactly the same way we would find the median with just half the data. The interquartile range is the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile, and the semi-interquartile range is the difference between them divided by 2. Just move that out over there. Okay. If we use the quartiles, then we can create what they call a box whisker plot. So it's just a visual model of what all those numbers represent. So the red line is the median, the blue line is the first quartile, the green line is the third quartile. Then we can create a little box, that's the box part, and then we extend the line out to the lowest value, lowest datum, and a line out to the highest datum. That gives us our little whiskers for the box whisker plot. So the interquartile range is the length of the box part. The modified box whisker plot basically just takes into the consideration the outliers. Okay. So the outliers are anything that's past 1.5 times the interquartile range from the quartiles. So from here right to here is 1.5 times this width, and from here out to here should be 1.5 times this width as well. Obviously this drawing isn't to proportion, but just kind of gives you an idea. So that anything outside of that, those values are the outliers. Okay, if we're going to use the Inspire calculators, then when we do it, we can do some values. So these are just some of the values that the graph Inspires will tell us. So there's the mean. These two we won't really use too much right now, but you probably might use it if you do any kind of statistics in university or college. So this is just the sum of all the values. This is the sum of all the values squared. These two are the standard deviation. So this, if you have a sample, or if what you entered was the population. N is just the number of values. This is obviously the minimum datum value, quartile range, first quartile, median, third quartile, and maximum value. So you can get a lot of information from that. So we'll go over that in class and how to use the inspires to work with that, either tomorrow or maybe next. And another measure of spread is the percentiles. So instead of dividing the data into quarters, now we're going to divide it into 100 different segments or parts, and each side is equally grouped. So you might have heard of the term like nth percentile. So if you're in the 95th percentile, that means that your mark is greater than 95% of the data set. Okay. So there's some questions to do, and we'll explore these ideas a little bit more in class tomorrow. And also remember to get your assignment done, which is due tomorrow. And I guess we'll change that to midnight tomorrow. So make sure you hand that in using your BORD site.